Today I'm going to be reacting to every time Gumball appeared in other cartoons.
Quick references to massive crossovers. Gumball has always shared its home with plenty of Cartoon Network favorites. Today, we're gonna be going over every single one of his appearances in other cartoons, starting with arguably one of the biggest—
Oh, Gumball himself? Wait, is he just talking about Gumball himself, or the whole all of Gumball? Like, all the characters from Gumball? Like, are we talking about the character Gumball, or every character in the show? Because I'm assuming, by the way sounds like he's only talking about just Gumball.
Crossovers in cartoon history. Crossover Nexus. During this episode, lots of characters from 1990s and 2000s Cartoon Network shows appear. But it isn't until Ben, who transforms into aliens, suddenly starts morphing into well-known cartoon mascots, like Robot Jones, Uncle Grandpa, and of course my boy Gumball.
Never watched Uncle Grandpa or whatever the hell he just said. The other guy. I've watched Gumball though.
Right before Ben turns into Mordecai from regular show.
Never watched
It's a quick moment, but an awesome little Easter egg. But this isn't the only time Gumball appeared in different shows. Make sure to stay till the end because there are plenty of references you definitely missed. One of those actually being in Learning with Pibby. Learning with Pibby was a concept released on Adult Swim YouTube channel on October 30th, 2020. It to be a harmless children's educational cartoon starring Pibby, a sweet and optimistic girl who lives in a colorful preschool world alongside her animal friends, including her best friend Bun Bun. She starts singing and everything seems pretty normal for your average kids show, but it immediately takes a turn as a glitch begins corrupting the world around Pibby, swallowing her friends, breaking apart the background, and twisting familiar characters into horrifying empty versions of themselves. From nostalgic characters like Fred Flintstone and Porky Pig to newer favorites like Finn and Amethyst, and of course Gumball himself, looking as corrupted as ever. Other characters like Buttercup, Samurai Jack, and even Darwin appear on the opposite team, not having been affected by the glitch, and fighting back against the corrupted versions of their friends. It was even teased that other shows like Rick and Morty and Smiling Friends would be in it too, getting fans excited at the thought of such a massive project bringing together so many big characters in one universe. However, despite earning nearly 40 million views on YouTube and strong support from fans, the project was never greenlit, most likely because of all the problems that would come from such a massive crossover, leaving us with this short but memorable look at what could have been an incredible crossover between many loved shows. But Gumball's next cameo in another show is just really weird, just like this next show itself, Uncle Grandpa. Uncle Grandpa follows, of course, Uncle Grandpa, who is everyone's favorite uncle and grandpa. In the show, he helps kids solve their problems while doing the weirdest things imaginable. And in the episode Pizza Eve, we cut to an award show called the Grampies, which is the Grammys if it was run by Uncle Grandpa. And as the camera pans across the crowd, we see characters such as Samurai Jack, the Powerpuff Girls, and between them, Gumball Watterson himself. He doesn't do or say anything, but judging by his face, he looks nervous, something we rarely see from him. It could be that the Grampies was such a big event that he was nervous being there. Not that it mattered anyway, since in the end, Uncle Grandpa managed to win every award, and considering that he took home one that Adventure Time clearly should have won.
I'm talking about the award for Best Feel-Good Fantasy Adventure Series with a Furry Yellow Companion. And the winner is...
Uncle Grandpa.
Well, what do you know? Uncle Grandpa!
This is bunk!
You can bet he won another one for the Most Amazing World too. But Gumball's next appearance is in none other than South Park. The show's been around since 1997 and made a name for itself by going after pretty much anything in the news. The main characters are the four kids, Stan, Kyle, Carmen, and Kenny, living in this small, snowy town where totally insane stuff happens all the time. It was such a big hit, it would get a bunch of seasons, movies, and crazier episodes. So you'd think the creators, Trey Parker and Maddie Stone, wouldn't really be into something like Gumball, since both shows have such different styles. But it turns out they actually are. On December 7th, 2016, we got an episode called The End of Serialization as We Know It. During a scene where Kyle and Ike's mom, Sheila, check Ike's internet history, we see a list of his searches, including big YouTubers like PewDiePie, Markiplier.
It's Markiplier. Markiplier. Oh my god, I can't speak. Tweet to Furkle. Tweet to Minecraft cheats, cool Minecraft levels, rising Canadian singers, fun board games, chocolate soda recipe, funny Gale cats.
And games like Minecraft, but for some reason, he's not subscribed to Gumball Universe. And it turns out, a lot of you watching right now aren't subscribed to the channel either. So go down below and help us get to 250k. But hidden between all this is a fun reference to Gumball, with one of the searches reading The Amazing World of Gumball streaming. When South Park includes things from the real world, it's usually to make a joke or because they hate it. But this time, it wasn't about making fun of Gumball. It was like a shout out to the show. And it goes to show that even a kid show like Gumball can connect with people of all ages, even the South Park creators themselves, which is definitely impressive. Jumping back to Cartoon Network, Gumball makes another fun cameo, this time on Teen Titans Go. Teen Titans Go aired on April 23rd, 2013, as a fun comedy spin-off of the original Teen Titans, but instead of serious hero stuff, they're focused more on fun and dumb scenarios for the characters. But on January 4th, 2016, in the episode Squash and Stretch, we get to see exactly that.
You should just make a whole channel called Cartoon and anything cartoon related. He should have just made Cartoon and Universe a channel and instead of SpongeBob and Gumball being separate channels, anything cartoon related would be on the one channel. So then he could talk about all these other topics like Teen Titans, Family Guy, South Park, Scooby-Doo, like all these shows, and not focus on just the one show. Because there's so many other shows he can make a channel for. But then he has too many. He already has 4. He has Gumball Universe, SpongeBob Universe, SML Universe, Beast Theory that I've said in one of the SML ones. After these, there's a SpongeBob reaction I want to do. And then after the SpongeBob reaction, we're going to watch the Beast Theory ones.
Getting a nod to Gumball. In this episode, the Titans are left mad and embarrassed after losing a battle to a squirrel. Yes, a squirrel. So they start imagining ways to get revenge, until they realize that violence isn't the answer. But my boy Cyborg doesn't think so, and that violence can actually be funny, if it's cartoon violence. To show them what he's talking about, he puts on a cartoon that gives a nod to the classic Looney Tunes, Wile E. Coyote, and Roadrunner short. But instead of the iconic Coyote and Roadrunner, we see a green cat and a purple fish. Not exactly Gumball, but that design for the fish is definitely a nod to the Amazing World Gumball. Since cartoon physics are a big deal in Gumball, it's clear that the Teen Titans Go creators wanted to give a shout out to both a classic and newer show that does it right. And that just goes to show how much people actually appreciate Gumball. While many of these appearances happened within Cartoon Network, later on we'll see some shows you might not have heard of, plus a reference to a Gumball episode on a rival network that you probably missed. Since we've already brought up Teen Titans Go, let's look at the episode Cat's Fancy, where they pay a tribute to a bunch of famous cats. In the episode, Starfire becomes a full-on crazy cat lady, and we see references to Garfield and Catwoman. But what's a tribute to cats without Gumball Watterson? When Starfire moves into her own apartment to live with all her cats, everything is cat-themed, and if you look closely at the floor, there is a rug shaped like none other than Gumball. But in this next show, not only does Gumball appear, but the entire Watterson family does, along with a character we're familiar with. The show Villainous started as a web series in 2012, and later became a full-on show on Cartoon Network Latin America and HBO Max. The story follows the Black Hat organization, run by evil mastermind Black Hat, who sells creepy gadgets to the villains. His team includes Dr. Flong, the brilliant and unlucky punching bag of the show, who's behind the paper bag on his head, is secretly a key figure behind the cartoon Cartoon Network multiverse, but it's really in orientation videos for villains, where we see them check out the villains from places like the city of Townsville, where Nicole even makes a quick cameo alongside Granny JoJo, the Land of Vu, and many more. One of them being, of course, the city of Elmore. In the episode, Dr. Flung reviews Rob and his many failed attempts to defeat his arch nemesis, Gumball. Defeat after defeat, we see Rob joining the Black Hat organization camp, where he trains alongside other well-known villains. He practices archery, takes on different challenges, and works hard to become a better villain, and prove he matters after being overlooked and forgotten for so long. But if you think that Rob was the only one in Elmore to take part in the Black Hat organization training,
you'll be wrong.
One of the strongest characters in Gumball, Nicole Watterson, has her own connection to this world. When going over Rob's case, Flung mentions Richard and Nicole, and realizes it's the same Nicole who attended the courses with Mr. Flung himself, and many other villains, showing that Nicole might actually be the main villain of Elmore all along. Then we get a moment between Gumball and Darwin, who finds the exact business card that secured her spot in the Black Hat organization training. And we even get a funny scene with them trying to find out why Nicole has ties with such an evil group. Gumball's home has always been Cartoon Network, and most of his cameos pop up in other Cartoon Network shows. But what if I told you he somehow made it onto a rival network without actually showing up? Many fans noticed that Gravity Falls Weird-mageddon Part 1 has a scene that feels a lot like Gumball's The Job, which aired all the way back in 2012, 3 years before Gravity Falls did it. Gravity Falls is a mystery comedy cartoon about twins, Dipper and Mabel, who spend their summer with their great uncle Stan in a weird town full of secrets and supernatural creatures, and a really evil foe, Bill Cipher. Who's a powerful and mysterious dream demon determined to take over Gravity Falls, and maybe the whole world. As the town falls into chaos, Dipper searches for his sister, Mabel, who is trapped in a bubble, and finds help from Wendy and Sos. But when getting chased by Gideon Gleeful and his gang, we get a moment where the characters rapidly change into different versions of themselves, going from birds to anime to live action. It's almost like they're shifting between alternate realities. And fans found this really similar to Gumball's The Job, which focuses on Richard and his new job. And
okay, so it's not necessarily the characters, but it's a parody of our Gumball episode. So
how having one could destroy the entire world. But when trying to stop Richard, we get a scene of the characters glitching between different styles and versions of themselves, just like what happens during the Weird-mageddon chase. When it comes to the community, people argue that yes, the concept is too similar, while others say it's just a coincidence. So I'm gonna ask you, did Gravity Falls reference Gumball, or are we just overthinking it?
I think it's a reference.
Comments below. But while that one's definitely a bit of a stretch, believe it or not, Gumball has somehow managed to sneak into a Disney movie, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Ranger.
I watched that movie, well, through a YouTuber, and I don't remember seeing Gumball.
These Chip and Dale were the ultimate cartoon duo, winning over audiences with their hit show Rescue Rangers. They were childhood friends turned TV stars, but the fame didn't last forever. When Dale decided to split off and go solo, everything came crashing down.
Well, they need another Chip and Dale movie. Because I think Rescue Rangers is the only one, right? Let me search it up.
Their friendship broke apart, and so did their careers, leaving both of them struggling to stay relevant in a world that have moved on. But after their friend and old co-star Monterey Jack got kidnapped by a gang that bootlegged cartoons by changing how they look, the two of them once again went to find out
Chip and Dale famously starred in 23 satirical animated shorts between 1943 and 1956. There is one major feature-length live-action CGI hybrid movie, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers 2022. They also appear in direct-to-videos, communication, and holiday films like Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas 1990. Okay, it looks like they only have one movie, like that is their movie. but they have a few where
Who's behind
they have
all of
cameos
them.
in
They
other
uncover
movies.
Sweet Pete, Peter Pan, who looks completely washed and old, ruining the whole thing. Throughout the movie, we see a bunch of characters from all kinds of different franchises, like The Simpsons, Winnie the Pooh, and they even brought back Ugly Sonic. In the mix of all the bootleg characters is also Gumball Watterson. He isn't exactly Gumball, he's more purple, has long limbs, and doesn't have a tail, but it's all the features that make him stand out and recognizable. Now, let's go back to actual appearances of Gumball again, this time with our old friend Uncle Grandpa. In the episode Cartoon Factory, Uncle Grandpa visits the Cartoon Factory to learn more about himself, and during the tour we see multiple iconic cartoons, all with different names and slightly altered appearances. Of course, Gumball appears, but this time it's Darwin who makes a cameo on a poster. Darwin's colors are on a poster that resemble the knockoff version of himself, Ribbit, from the episode The Copycats. But it seems that the creators of Uncle Grandpa really love Gumball, because Gumball doesn't just appear once, not twice, but a third time once again in the background in the episode Transitional Phase. After so many shows and episodes, we've finally made it to the last show. However, for a lot of people, you might not even notice this because it's a Turkish animated show named King Sakir. And I'm sorry if I butcher like every pronunciation here. King Sakir is a Turkish animated series for Cartoon Network Turkey. The show premiered in April of 2016, around the time Gumball was airing, and has even aired across 7 seasons, with over 280 episodes. The story follows Sakir, a young lion who lives with his mixed species family and friends on everyday adventures. While early episodes focus on lighthearted family fun, later seasons introduce more interesting plots, like time travel, outer space, and much more. Unless you're from Turkey or familiar with the language, you might not know that Gumball actually makes a quick appearance in King Sakir Season 1, Episode 28, Kasek Demat. The episode is about one of the characters, Murky, being afraid of marriage, so the only obvious answer is to make himself a child to avoid it. But during this, there's a small glimpse of Gumball, specifically from the episode The Origins, which focuses on how Gumball first meets Darwin and explores their early backstory as a family. It's a fitting choice, since Kasek Demat deals with themes of family and relationships too, so slipping that moment in from Gumball works as a fun little nod that ties in with the episode. That was all the times I could find Gumball in other cartoons, but just like I found all these cameos, you should find your way right down to that subscribe button.
So that's gonna be the end of the video. Bye guys.